Hey, what's up, Internet? Jake Lyons, real estate investment advisor with atproperties and Christie's International here in Chicago, here with you. And I am doing the Chicago multifamily deal of the day. In this edition, I am going to be talking about 4153 North Hermitage Avenue. That is going to be in the Ravenswood neighborhood of Chicago, which is technically, if we're talking community areas, it's in the Lakeview community area. Although, if it were 2 blocks to the west, I think it would be in North Center. You have the Lincoln Square. It's kind of like right in the middle between a few different places. But if you're a local, you would know it's the Ravenswood neighborhood. It's a 4 unit building. It has, I believe it's 2 3-bed, 3-bath units and 2 2-bed, 2-bath units. I am not affiliated in any direct or even indirect way with this property. It's not my listing. I haven't seen it in person, but it popped up on my radar yesterday and I ran numbers on it and it caught my eye. And shout out to Sandra Lopez, who is the listing agent on this with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Chicago. Thank you, Sandra, for allowing me to do a video on your property. It's a lovely property. I'm going to go through the photos real quick while I'm talking, just so you can see it seems like a lot of care and detail has been put into these renovations. It has all the sleekness that everybody was looking for these days. Really nice big bathrooms, kitchens, hardwood floors, everything. Those might be vinyl floors. I can't quite tell. But in any case, no, I think those are hardwood. In any case, it's nice. It's the look that people are going for and that they're willing to pay a lot of money for. And one of the main reasons I'm actually talking about this one is that out of the, at this point, hundreds, if not thousands of properties that I have broken down and analyzed for the newsletter that I do, as well as my clients that I work with, and just out of my own curiosity and habits, whenever I see a property pop up that is really high end like this, like in the millions, let alone, over 2 million, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit because usually the numbers on it are going to be bad. Almost always, when somebody is trying to sell something for this much money, it just doesn't make sense when you run the numbers on it. You're have like a negative 4,000 a month cash flow, at the price that they're looking for. You have like a 1% cap rate. I mean, some of these properties out here, if you've been following my newsletter for a little while, obviously I don't do videos on properties like that because that'd be rude. But if you follow my newsletter, you know that there's a lot of properties out there where it's just like, what could you possibly be thinking? Who would want to buy this property at this price? This is nowhere even close. So I was, pleasantly surprised when I started running the numbers on this, and I see that it actually does make a little bit of sense, at least depending on the type of investor and what you're hoping to get out of the investments that you're doing. So this is, if you've seen any of my stuff on teaching you how to run analysis on properties in Chicago, or if you follow my newsletter, you might be familiar with this spreadsheet here. This is my multifamily analysis template. You'll see that, so it's not currently rented out. None of them are. So we have to use projected rents, which I use Rentometer for. And Rentometer, I'll just go ahead and go over to that. If you're unfamiliar with Rentometer, it's this service that I like to use. I can just go to the MLS and get my rental comps that way too. Sometimes I do have to do that. If I'm really working with somebody on a specific property and actually really digging into things on a more specific basis, I'll do that. But for our purposes, just to kind of get like a quick feel for what's going on, I like to use Rentometer. They're just nice, and they give you these nice charts with historical trend lines and charts and graphs and all this. And I like that they break things down into percentiles. So instead of just giving you like the average or the median, which anybody can do, they break things down into like 25th percentile, 75th percentile, etc. For this one, I jumped right to the 90th percentile. I'm looking at those photos and how just pleasant the building is. Even though it's missing parking, which might be a sticking point for some people, I still think that you could expect to get, closer to the 90th percentile on these rents. So the 90th percentile here was 3970 for the 3-bed, 1.5 or more baths. And these actually had 3 baths, which Rentometer doesn't even give you an option for. So, that's even more confidence that it would be that. And I think these are duplex units too. So, I mean, yeah, these would definitely go for the higher end for sure. And then on the 2-bed, 2-bath units, again on the 90th percentile, you're looking at about 34 to 3500. So that's what I put over here. I did 3900 and 3400 for the two different types of units over there. I did the taxes. The taxes coming in at around 15,000. That's pretty low for what I would expect out of a property like this. I would keep an eye on that. I wouldn't be surprised if as properties are getting reassessed and revalued and things like that. If that number doesn't go up a little bit in the years ahead, it probably will. I don't know if it would be super significant, but it probably will go up a little bit. But in any case, that's what it is now. So that's what we use. And assuming 25% down payment, that you're doing this as an investor only. I doubt not too many people are buying this type of property as an owner occupant situation. That this doesn't usually tend to happen at these price points. You're probably doing this as just as an investor. You're looking at close to a 6% cap rate, cash flow of 284 per month. These are all pretty highly estimated things based on a number of different factors. Like even like this capex, you could probably adjust that down or up a little bit depending on how confident you are and where it is on the building. Like if it doesn't look like a place that would need to have a roof replaced or anything like that. I think they just did a pretty thorough renovation here pretty recently. But in any case, these are the kind of variables that you can play with. Doing 6.5% interest rate, that's one thing to note. I think they are a little bit higher at the time that I'm doing this, but in any case, and you might look at this and you might say, all right, well, if I'm paying over $2 million for a property, I want to be able to cash flow more than $300 a month. What's that about? This isn't a good deal. And it all just depends on what kind of investor you are. Like I said, if your main requirement out of a real estate investment is to maximize your cash flow, correct, this probably would not be quite the play for you, at least not at the price that they're asking. But if you're somebody that kind of has some money that you want to park somewhere in a stabilized high-end asset in a high-end stabilized area that is going to be stable for you and get you solid returns and not cause you any headaches and have consistent, hopefully pretty consistent appreciation over time, and a neighborhood with strong fundamentals, strong demand, strong amenities that are going to be around for a long period of time, that people are going to continue to seek out. You're close to metro lines, you're pretty close to the beach, you're close to Lakeview, close to Wrigley, you're close to all these things, lots of groceries, lots of amenities, lots of walking, lots of parks. It's an area that most people would consider to be a desirable area, so don't see any reason why demand for the area should decrease anytime in the foreseeable future. And for all those reasons, trust me when I say it is rare to even find something in this kind of price range that even breaks even at all, or is not, that you're not losing thousands of dollars a month on. I mean, literally, that's what I see out of this price point way more often than not. So that's why it caught my eye. Anytime that this was even a positive number, was this kind of like, oh wow, what a pleasant surprise, and these are all based on projections and estimates, and at the end of the day, in reality, this could all end up being wrong when the rubber meets the road. But just wanted to share this with you because I thought it was interesting, and if that's the kind of investor that you are, or the kind of thing that you're looking for, you could definitely do a whole lot worse than this. And I'm also using sort of like standard 12-month leases as the example of what kind of revenue that you could get from this. They mentioned, and I would agree, that this could also be a good candidate for like corporate housing or midterm rentals, things like that. Airbnb, maybe. Chicago puts a lot of regulatory hurdles in the way of doing Airbnb. Like it's supposed to have to be your primary residence, and you can only rent it out part of the time unless you jump through all kinds of hoops that you have no guarantee of succeeding in. And they made it pretty challenging to do Airbnb, even if you own the whole building. But it's possible maybe that you could do that, but I wouldn't necessarily buy it. I wouldn't make this kind of investment assuming that you could do that. Maybe like an added bonus if you find out that you can later, but run your numbers based on not that would be my recommendation for anything in Chicago, honestly, except for maybe the bigger, more commercial buildings with higher unit counts. That factors in a little bit differently. But in any case, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Oh yeah, here's a chart of this zip code and 2 to 4 unit buildings over the last 10 years. So you see that there's, definitely it's jagged, it's ups and downs as you would expect. But overall, there's definitely that up and to the right curve that you would want. And yeah, so that's it. That's all I have for 4153 North Hermitage, however you say that word. If you found this helpful, please give me a like or a subscribe or a follow or whatever is appropriate for wherever you're watching this. And somewhere around here should also be a link to check out some of the resources that I have on teaching you how to do these kind of analyses yourself, as well as newsletters that I put out where I analyze almost every 3 and 4 unit property on the market every day. and other things like that. So again, my name is Jake Lyons, and thanks for watching.